Good morning, everybody. Stu Smith here going live. Hope you guys are well. It is Tuesday and it's our CSS show. So I'll show a few CSS videos. Maybe they will be helpful. And if they're not, I got a ton more where that came from. And you can find them over on my YouTube channel. You can find them on my Instagram Reels. And I got a whole TikTok uh, social media platform that shows nothing but swimming related videos. So go check those out, especially if you need a little help with swimming. Because if there's something I do pretty well is to help a non-swimming athlete become a spec ops swimmer. And that's for anything: SEAL, diver, EOD, SWIC, rescue swimmer, recon, Air Force Special Warfare, any other diving program that's out there as well. All right. So, the question of the week, I am hoping I get it from you guys because I got nothing. Though I will say this, I did repost a question from yesterday's or last week's, I can't remember. I think it was last week's question that I really liked. And it was, can a non-swimming athlete become a Navy SEAL? And the answer is absolutely. And this question, though, was, can someone who cannot swim become a Navy SEAL? And the answer is still yes. But my advice, if you're that person that does not know how to swim, don't just jump in the pool and try to start practicing. Actually, take lessons. You might want to invest in some lessons. At least learn how to do freestyle. Because let me tell you why. Freestyle is going to teach you how to have a body position that is flat, and it's going to teach you how to turn to breathe. Because guess what? The turn to breathe on freestyle, right? It looks freestyle, right? If I'm doing freestyle, coming back over this way, is the exact same turn to breathe as the CSS. So if you can learn freestyle, turning to breathe, not popping your head up to breathe, you will see a huge transition into the CSS. It works pretty well. The only thing you'll have to learn after that is an underwater recovery stroke, because you can't do a freestyle recovery out of the water. It's got to come up under like you're doing breaststroke, and you just add a bigger scissor kick. Chances are a scissor kick's going to be better for the non-swimming athlete than obviously the swimming athlete who's probably practiced egg beater or breaststroke kicking, with a variety of different strokes and pool skills. So you may want to first start off with a scissor kick, because chances are, if you're a runner athlete, your hips are very developed to do this, right? And so a scissor kick is pretty logical, right? Doing this with a breaststroke might not be the most powerful kick choice for a non-swimming athlete. So that's why I teach the scissor kick first. And if you have some time, you want to learn the breaststroke kick, that's a good one. You can apply that to underwater swims. You can apply it to the egg beater, because what is the egg beater? It's a fancy word for, actually a poorly named word, because it doesn't look like an egg beater spinning your legs like this. You're actually pushing down with the inside of your feet like you're doing a breaststroke kick, but it's an alternating breaststroke kick. I'm not sure what we have over here, but I'm not sure what the bull is. Joe, enlighten me. What is the bull? Let's see here. We got any questions at all? Question of the week. If we don't, I'll go right into sharing some CSS videos. I got one with fins, and I have a swimming athlete. And I want to show you a common error swimming athletes make. And look, I'm not one to teach a swimmer how to swim. I mean, that's not what I do, but I will teach a strategy on how to do better in the PST. Because remember, yes, there's a 500-yard swim. He can do that 500-yard swim probably better than I ever could, even if he's just coasting. But what they tend to do, and I'll just show this first because since I brought it up, what happens is um, they tend to waste a little bit of energy. And I'm going to show you here. This is after me kind of correcting him on, hey, try to glide a little more. So I got to do volume off first. Real quick, share this with you guys and get him centered. All right, so watch this. He's got a good kickoff, little dolphin kick, double arm pull. This guy can swim. Got a little breaststroke kick. Now watch what he does. Like there's no glide here. One Mississippi. One Mississippi, dude. And he's got a high elbow recovery that he's got to work on as well. So let's go back. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. Now this is good. Now on the way down, I'm yelling at him saying, glide, glide more. One Mississippi. But it's so fast. I mean, this guy's going to cruise in at a 7, easy 7:15, maybe if he pulls back a little. So what I told him was this. I said, look, you're a great swimmer. Swimming's not your problem. You know, you're kind of skinny, get in the weight room, start lifting, run. If you get, you know, issues with running, a lot of swimmers have issues with shin splints because they're just not used to gravity. So let's get you a little more durable, get you out of the pool, maybe swim once a week. You're going to swim a 7-minute easy. You're going to beat 95% of everybody in the water. You don't need to win this. Okay. Go in there, coast in at a 7:30, and then focus on all the other elements because you have a ton of other things you can get better at versus trying to come in number one with a 6:15, 6 flat on your swim and wasting all that time on getting to become a competitive swimmer, whereas you could just be focusing on your pull-ups, your push-ups, your sit-ups, your running, and if you got a psoas to do like this young man's got to do, you got a ruck and you got a load bear and you got so many other things that you need to work on. So my advice for him is, as you can see, he's very efficient off the wall, double arm pull. That's great. No loss of momentum. My advice is hold out the glide for another second. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. One Mississippi, two. See, he's pulling on two. He can get another yard out of that glide and make himself a lot more efficient. This is fast, could be a little more efficient. Get this elbow down under the water, hold this glide out, one Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. You can see his timing's off from where I want him to be to make him more efficient. Does that make sense? So efficiency is key in the PST, especially if, that's, for the Navy, your swim is first. You blow it all in the pool, shoot for a PR or just muscle it through like you're a wrestler doing 20 strokes per length. Don't recommend it. Don't recommend it. All right, learn how to swim, learn how to be efficient, because the key is conservation of energy, but at maximum speed available. Not sprinting, but maximum speed that you can do and still be efficient because you still have pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, mile and a half run to do. It's not just a swim. So that is my strategic advice for swimmers coming into this, because I can't tell you how many swimmers come in and say, I think I can break the Bud's record. Well, no one cares about your 500-yard swim time. Now, You put on a pair of fins and break the bud's record with 2 miles in the ocean with big scuba fins on. That's something to be proud of. No one cares about your 500. You're going to take it one time at buds and then you'll never do it again. But you'll take that 2-mile ocean swim every week. That matters more. All right, so let's do another one with swimming with fins, okay? And then I'll take some questions. I see some questions popping up. All right, you guys can see this. Let me make this a little bigger. Boom. All right, so we got guys swimming with fins. Whole bunch of dudes. Whole pool swimming with fins, I think. Nope, except for him. All right, so what are we looking at here? We're looking at a guy doing 1, 2, 3, pull and breathe. 1, 2, 3, pull and breathe. So 3 kicks, pulls and breathe. Good medium-sized flutter kicks. 1, 2, 3, pull and breathe. 1, 2, 3, pull and breathe. Perfect. Seems like he's solid, got a good pace going. Looks like he's hitting about 8-minute 500s on this, as I recall. Now, notice this. Notice what he does when he's off the wall. Check this out. Both of them kick off the wall, add in some dolphin kicks because it's really awkward to kick off the wall flat-footed with these big rocket fins to get some momentum going every time you kick off the wall, because you will do a pool swim with fins on for time. You got to master that 1,000 before you get processed into first phase. So kick off that wall, do 1, 2, 3 dolphin kicks, and then start your flutter kick again. Now, this is something he does that I thought was kind of interesting. On his weak side, like we just saw him swim on his strong side with good flutter kicks, 3 flutter kicks. Now watch this. 1, 2, pull and breathe. Now he's doing a dolphin kick on his weak side. It's just something he prefers. Like on his weak side, he prefers to do 1, 2 dolphin kicks, turns to breathe. See that one more time? If you need to see what he's doing, he's just doing some dolphin kicks, still keeping up with the guy in front of him who's doing regular kicks. And they're trying to shoot for a 8-minute 500 and a 16-minute 1,000. Because that'll put you in good stead with that 1,000-meter swim that you have to do whenever you show up to prep and you want to move into the first phase. All right, so we got a few questions. Jack was first over here. How often is it acceptable to use bike as opposed to running through programs? It feels like a cop out sometimes. Well, if you're doing the right bike workouts, it is not. I will promise you, if you don't have a puddle under you, if you don't have a puddle under you, you're not doing it right, or you're not trying hard enough, because this little 3, 4 options bike is a really great way to train. Supplemental, I'm going to put this article in here, supplemental to your running. Or sometimes you just have to replace running with biking and hard biking, because biking like you're going to the park and you're coasting, yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to be on an assault bike, or you want to be on one of those life cycles where you can increase the resistance each minute, increase the speed each minute. And trust me, if you don't have a puddle underneath you, you didn't do it right. And if you do it right, you'll be faster with less running. I promise you. Happened to me personally, and happened to countless people who I had to put on bike workouts because shin splints or stress fractures or whatever. So Vinny says, should you be counting that in your head while swimming? I'm not sure what you're saying. Like 1, 2, 3, kick, or kick, 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 breathe, kick, 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 breathe. No, I mean, you can at first to kind of muscle memory it, but to be honest with you, it's going to be natural for you. You're going to find a groove whenever you're swimming for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 yards that you just get into. And it's not unlike getting into a groove of running. Sometimes I get into this 1, 2, 3 inhale, 1, 2, 3 exhale. Nice in and out as I'm going through running. I did it today. In fact, I had to do it today because it was like 29 degrees running. Wasn't used to 29 degrees yet. And so my throat was bothering me. So 3 steps inhale through the nose, 2, 3 steps exhale through the mouth. Definitely made running in the cold a lot better. Do you count rucking as weekly mileage for running? I do. I count it as anything unless I'm walking. All right. If I'm walking with a backpack, I don't count it as running. If I am shuffling, like I am faster than walking, but not quite running, like somewhere in that 10, 11-minute mile pace, more than a power walk. Like, put it this way, I found over the years when I was practicing pacing for rucking, I learned 3 paces. I learned a pace where I'm just walking. That's like a 16-minute mile, usually, for my pace. Like I'm talking on the phone, not paying attention, just walking. Kind of like when I mow the grass with a weight vest. It's just I'm walking. The other one is power walking, which usually, depending on your weight, can put you in that 14 to 15-minute zone. 14-minute mile, 14 to 15-minute mile zone you want to be in to meet especially Army minimum standards. Okay, but it's no good to be in the minimum, so you got to pick it up a notch. I usually pick it up a notch with a shorter stride shuffle. So it's like not quite running, but it's also not quite the long step as walking. So I cut my stride in half and keep up my cadence, and I'm just midfoot striking the whole time, and my cadence is high. So you got to get in shape for that one because you're going to be winded on that, but it can drop you down to like 10 sub 10-minute mile. So you can play around with those 3 methods and know where your pace is, just by practicing those for 10-minute sets. Next thing you know, you've got a pretty good mile pace or 2, 3 mile pace. But yeah, check that out. In times when I've had to sub and bike for running, I found it useful to try more of a grinding high torque style, but keep the same cadence or RPM and breathing pattern as my running. Yeah, that works too. A lot of times I'll do this. I'll say, hey, if I'm trying to run a 28-minute 4 mile, I'm going to get on this bike and go pretty hard for 28 minutes. It's just another way of using that energy system that, yeah, you can go high cadence, try to keep your RPM similar to it if you can. But yeah, usually a higher resistance is going to be very helpful for you. And it's up to you. You can do assault bike where your hands move too, but be honest with you, I prefer like the old stationary bikes that have like a 20 resistance, levels on it. Because you can do some really cool things with that one. One of my favorites is the old pyramid, where you go level 1 for a minute, level 2 for a minute, 3 for a minute, 4 for a minute. First 5 minutes easy. Next thing you know, you're at 10, 12, 15, and you're like, okay, I got to stand up now to pedal this thing, and it's starting to turn into work, which is where you want. So once again, the pyramid, go up from 1 to 15 and then back down to 1. You got yourself a 29-minute challenge, or you can just keep going up until you fail. That's another good one. And fail to keep that RPM where you started. So usually I'll start anywhere between 70 and 90 RPMs. That seems to be the sweet spot on most life cycle type bikes, pre-cores. And then you push that. If you go lower, you got to pick it up. If you go higher, you got to slow it down. And keep it in that 70 to 90% when you can't, or 90 RPMs. If you can't do that, then you've kind of failed for that minute, and you'll feel it. you get up to level 20, 25, depending on the bike, and you're standing up and maybe getting 60. Whew, talk about that puddle underneath it. You got it. I see Ray Care over there. What's up, big man? In times when I've had to oh, okay, I already answered that question. Okay, Greg asked, as a SWIC, do you have any opportunity to go to 18 Delta, become a SOC M? I know SWIC guys do go to medic training. In fact, a couple of guys that worked out with us recently here locally enlisted, became SWIC, and they're going through the medic pipeline right now. It's the Navy version. I don't think it's the Army version, the 18 Delta version that the Army goes to, but they are very similar, if not the same. I don't know what the difference is, but there may be the 18 Delta may take another level where there's like a surgical component, maybe an anesthesiology component to it that I'm not aware of. I'm sure the Google machine will help you figure out what's the difference between SOCM course, Navy, and 18 Delta course. There's information out there. I don't know the details of the difference. So Jack says, non-swimmer dealing with shoulder soreness. I've been told it's normal, reaching for streamline and freestyle. Yeah, pretty normal. My advice is this: a lot of non-swimmers who like to lift, which is pretty much any land athlete that I know of, unless you're a runner, you're going to have probably big traps, tight shoulders, and when you glide, you're going to be gliding like this, right? Because I call this swimming like a banana, right? You need to be back here, right? And gliding straighter. You guys see that? Yep. Gliding straighter, arms locked out over you, one hand on top of the other. And I tell you, some bigger guys can look like this whenever they're gliding. Biceps need to be glued to your ears and straight vertical. Otherwise, you're going to constantly swim like this. You're going to constantly plow the water versus spear the water like a torpedo. So it's a shoulder mobility issue. So if your shoulders hurt, you're probably trying to get that shoulder mobility a little better. Keep doing it, because it takes about 3 or 4 weeks until you actually see some mobility added to your shoulders, or any joint for that matter, hips especially. So yeah, that's how it's typically mobility issue. So focus on your stretching, full range of motion when you're moving, and really work on that streamlined body position. There's some stretches I like to do in my Never Quit Stretching video that you can see up on Stu Smith Fitness. But often, if you ever look on my Instagram, um, you'll see me doing like 20 different stretches. That's kind of like my mobility day cool down. And there's a couple in there that will work your shoulders really well. I would show you, but I'm just not in the place right now. Maybe I'll bring some pictures and show you. If I can find some pictures, I'll post them up here real quick. What I've been doing is just crushing as much abs and push-ups get painful. Work on your mobility. More reps usually isn't the answer. Stretching, full range of motion is. And the shoulder is the most versatile joint we have. I mean, think about what it can do. Up, down, left, right, big circles. Like, not other joints do that. Our hips are similar, but nowhere near the versatility that our shoulders have. But with that versatility is a weakness and instability. So you need to work on ways to build that shoulder up. We use something called the lightweight shoulder workout, and it's in all of my workouts. If you haven't seen the lightweight shoulder workout, I'll show it to you, because I made an article on it because it's that good. I give it away for free. Lightweight shoulder, Stu Smith. Google that and you'll see a lightweight shoulder workout. And when I say lightweight, I mean lightweight. This is 5-pound dumbbells here, and it is a rotator cuff exercise. So check that out. I'm telling you, it will work for you really well. And it's hard. I can't tell you how many people I've had do this workout with me. And, um, they grab tens and they're quickly ducking to get threes and fives after a few of the exercises. It's like 7 exercises you can do: lateral raises, thumbs up, thumbs down, front raises, crossovers, um, military press, and then reverse flies. All of those are great for your shoulder mobility and little bitty rotator cuff muscles, which are probably what's causing your pain. All right, next question. Oh, someone says lightweight shoulder workout has been amazing for me. Yeah, man, telling you, young and old can benefit from the lightweight shoulder workout. I did it this morning. 5-pound dumbbells I took to the workout and cranked it out. In times when I've had to sub in bike, oh, yeah, I've done that one already. Do you think that running hard only twice a week, like tempo and interval, is enough speed work for the week and the rest is on two? Kind of how I, yeah, that works. I mean, that's a way to do it that works for sure. You need to not just do slow running or you're going to get good at slow running. All right. You need to pick it up to a pace that you can maintain. Set a goal. All right. If you're trying to run a 6-minute mile, you need to practice running 6-minute miles. Maybe not in a mile, but maybe a 3-minute half mile or a 90-second quarter mile. Right. You need to teach yourself how to run that fast by playing around with that fast. Yes, zone 2 can be very helpful, especially if you're new to running. But you can also do your zone 2 on a bike, right? If you need to. If you want to avoid some of the impact that if you're a bigger athlete and you're susceptible to feet, knee, and shin issues, might want to go with a non-impact option versus adding 10 miles of zone 2 that week. Have you heard of SOCOM Athletes Hell Day? Of course. If so, what do you think of it? If not, never mind. No, I think they're great. I like the guy, Jason. Sweet's a good guy. I've had him on my podcast, and we talked about it. Talked about what he does. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing. If you're thinking about these things, you're gonna want to start preparing yourself in ways to test yourself, right? You might do all these workouts, getting ready for buds, boom, boom, you get through those, but you never really tested yourself yet. That's an option. See how you feel when someone's yelling at you, or, um, you're sitting in the cold water and you got wet and sand in your pants, and now you got to go run for another 4 or 5 miles and carry a log. The discomfort factor that he exposes people to is real. And sometimes it's the discomfort that gets people like saying, oh, maybe this isn't for me. Cold, dirty, tired. That's what those things are for. It'll test you. I don't mind them. I think they're great exposure. I know this really isn't your expertise, but I'm going to MEPS this Sunday. Do you have any advice for general base of MEPS? I mean, MEPS is basically you're going to go through medical, probably take the ASFAB while you're there. I mean, it's just there's not a whole lot to do. I mean, study for the ASFAB, but you can't study for the physical. I mean, yeah, that's about it. Be prepared to just hurry up and wait. because it is a lot of waiting around. I know it varies each day, but do you know a possible ballpark of how many of each calisthenics exercises we're doing each day at Buds? No, I don't. All of them? I mean, you're going to do more push-ups than any of them. I promise you. How many push-ups in a day? Does it really matter? Does that question really matter? Really? If I told you 500 a day, could you handle it? I mean, there will be days where you're doing hundreds of push-ups in a day. You might have 400 before lunch some days. But that's not the average day. Some days will be worse than others. You know, just be able to handle the volume and recover quickly. That's the key. How do you do that? Do some high volume training, but be smart about it. Don't do it every day because you need to recover from it. I'm planning to use your winter lift cycle, but replace running with boxing. I like that idea. Nah, I think that's great. 5K, 30 minutes, 8 by 3 minute boxing rounds. I love it. Nah, man, good call. I think that's fun. Can you do zone two on an assault bike? That's a good question. All I know is every time I'm on an assault bike, it just seems harder than zone two for me. Maybe you can if you just sit back and chill out, get your hands off the thing and just pedal, let the air hit you, cool you down. I'm sure you could, but that assault bike is pretty tough for me. I always feel lightheaded when I get off of it. Maybe I'm pushing too hard. Meps, just think of some funny jokes to say to the doctor during your turn and cough test. Yeah, he's probably heard them all. Let's see. Hey, Stu, how many mobility sessions per week are optimal? Good question. As many as you need. I would say you probably don't need more than one day focused on mobility and non-impact cardio. Maybe some pool skills after that, work on treading and all those things that mobility can help you with, streamlining. Um, but end every workout with a little mini mobility time. So my mobility day works like this. Every day, or every once a week, you'll see in that 6-day plan, mobility day. Repeat 5 times, 5 minutes of cardio, non-impact, 5 minutes of stretching, foam rolling. Usually I work my way up my body each of those 5 minutes of stretching and, go from feet all the way to my neck. But I will say this, after workouts, it is also very helpful to do some mini mobility days. So instead of 50 minutes of mobility day that we have in the middle of the week, just do 15, 20 minutes. 5 minutes of non-impact cardio, 5 minutes of stretching foam roller. You can do it once, you can do it twice. I don't think you need to do it more than that to cool down, but it's a great cool down as well, especially if you do a leg day. So those 2 5-minute stretches can work from feet to knees your first time, get everything in between massaged out, stretched out, and then knees to hips. The next time, if you feel like you need to get your lower back, mix in some lower back stuff too. But yeah, I would say once a week as a mobility day, every day as a mini mobility day. Like you should stop and stretch just for the hell of it, or stop and foam roll for the same. Could a clicking shoulder be a sign of overuse injury on the mend if it's ongoing, mainly from push-ups I get? I don't know, man. That's a good question. I mean, I guess it could be a sign of many things, but I mean, I've had clicking hips, clicking shoulders, and it doesn't hurt when it's happening. So I wouldn't sweat it. If it hurts, then yes, I would be very careful with it. All right, let's see what we got over here on YouTube. Um, Hey, Stu, hope your Tuesday is off to a good start. Thank you. I vaguely remember you mentioning you had a program for Tier 1 law enforcement, BORTAC. You guys still prescribe it for guys. You know, the HRT guys and the BORTAC guy who came to train with us that are now doing those jobs, they actually did this training, the seasonal tactical fitness periodization. Now, if there's swimming in it, you can replace that swimming with rucking. If you're a BORTAC guy, definitely you're going to want to ruck instead of swim. HRT guys, same thing. You're probably going to want to do some track work with a weight vest on, running bleachers. Yeah, it tends to be the cardio of choice versus adding a swim to it. Though, if you need a swim just to for the non-impact, you can add it. But yeah, the whole series, the fall, winter, spring, summer series of that, if you have a year, do that. Or depending on your strengths and weaknesses, you can pick the season to focus on what you need to do in that series, and it explains it. Um, so that's what they did. I don't have something specific for those groups. Um, Another one that when I had some BORTAC instructors on the podcast a while back ago, um, or maybe we were on a phone call and then Jeff and I did a podcast on that discussion. What they did was I had a book. It was a winter lift cycle. So any of my winter lift cycles will help you. But the winter lift cycle, the one that they liked so much was called Tactical Strength. And it's a published book that you can find at Amazon, Tactical Strength. And what they did is they added more running to it. They took out the swimming and just added running or rucking. Leg days, they added rucks. Upper body, they added runs. So, yeah, I don't have anything specific for them. Can't recommend the lightweight shoulder routine enough. Yeah, man. I've been doing it now for wow, 28 years. So I remember when I did it. My daughter was almost a week from being born, and I messed up my shoulder, and then physical therapy hooked me up with that one. I've been doing it ever since. You can do it with bands. You can do it with 5-pounders. It's up to you. You can do it with water bottles. You can do it with the air. Air is tough, especially if you're recently injured. You probably want to start off with the air. 5 pounds is, believe it or not, 5 pounds is not the start off weight. It's hard. Next question: improving your 300-meter run down to the low 40s. What does your programming look like? Does running high volume help, or are sprints king? And oh yeah, sprints are king in that domain. Multiple sets of sprints. So hundreds, 200s, 300s, 400s, you're going to do all of them in that program. I don't have a copy of that one, but that one is for the FBI. So my FBI fitness test workout is sprints. And you don't do them every day. You just do them a couple days a week. Your other runs will be more goal paced, zone 2 type stuff. But yeah, you got to add the sprints. I basically what we do is on a leg day, we just add sprints. So we'll probably do a little warm up with some calisthenics, a little bit of cardio, do our sprints, and then go lift. Or do squats and lunges and calisthenics lift exercises as well. Because it depends. If you need muscle stamina, do it without weight and just do squats and lunges and jumps, bleacher runs, things like that. Or if you need to get a little stronger, add weight. Sorry, I've asked a bunch of questions already. That's okay. This one I've heard lots of opinions on. But as my PST comes closer to SOAS ready, I've already felt worse than my peers in cold water. Any articles and thoughts? I'm not sure what that means. I mean, cold water sucks. You just got to get used to it. My advice is this: Get yourself one of those tubs, put it in your backyard if you have a backyard. Um, Fill it up with groundwater. You don't need any ice. If you fill it up with groundwater, um, and just soak in it for like 10 minutes, I mean, that's like 55, 58, somewhere in that range. Typical groundwater is in the 50s. Just soak it up and, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes. Build up, maybe start off with 2 minutes. It's going to take your breath away for like 30, 40 seconds and then start breathing through it. And next thing you know, it's going to be therapeutic. I promise you. I mean, I have one of those tubs in my backyard right now, and I'd say probably 4 days a week I'm in that thing. And I don't put ice in it. I just put 55-degree water in it, sit in for 10 minutes, and it's cold. It gets me cold. I get shaking, and like I said, it's therapeutic. I have put ice in it before, but it just melts real fast, and it's kind of pain in the neck. So I also just stay in it a little longer since it's in the 50s instead of dropping it down into the 40s or even 30s. It's up to you though. Yeah, here's the thing. The reason why I say 50s for you guys is that Bud's water will not be colder than 55 degrees. That'll be the coldest it gets in the winter. In fact, some days the air temperature may be colder than the water temperature in the winter. That's pretty crazy, right? You got 55-degree water, but you got 45-degree air. What's the best way to get ready to run in sand when I have no sand? Good question. Find ways to make running harder. And what we do is we do multiple things. We find hills, we find weight to run in, not super heavy, 10, 20 pounds. We run bleachers if we don't have hills. And yeah, something I did way back when. Um, I lived in Florida, but I lived 80 miles from the beach. So I would ride my bike out to this river that would dry up over the summer, hot as hell. And I would run that soft sand river bed for like a couple of miles down, couple of miles back. That was sketchy because I'd always hear these big splashes, like there's some pools around, and filled with gators. That was something that make you run fast. And then on the way back, depending on how the river looked, I stopped by my friend's house, whose dad had this big farm, probably like a plowed field that if you ran a perimeter of it is almost a mile. So I would just ask him if I could run the perimeter of his plowed field where there weren't any plants. And so I'd run in this plowed dirt. So get creative. You can find ways to make running harder. On your programs, when you have 30 minutes um, of hills, stair stepper, or bleachers, what kind of workout can you do on a stair stepper, and can you use your ruck? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, guess what? There's an article for that. Stair stepper special ops Stu Smith. How about that in the Google machine? It comes out with this article called, "For Those Looking to Join Special Ops, Weighted Stair Steps Are a Useful Tool." So check it out. There you go. So yeah, that's one of our days where we make running harder. Hills, soft sand, stair stepper, or bleachers. That's just one of those days that we call making running harder than it needs to be. But yeah, wear ruck with that baby and read that article that I just posted, and you'll see 2 to 3 really good workouts that you can do on that stair stepper with that weight vest. Really good. Yeah, absolutely will help with durability and running boat. I promise you. I can't tell you how many guys do that one. fact, I was very grateful for the firefighter who taught that to us because I was like, man, this is going to be useful. He kicked our butts on that stair stepper. Besides dumbbell shoulder presses, is there any other workout you would use to simulate holding a boat or log on your shoulder or head? Yeah, we do sandbag work, lots of push presses, lots of running with the shoulder, running with the sandbag on your shoulder, run with it, chest carry. That's a big one. Chest carry sandbag runs, do that because you'll be grateful when you start doing what they call hot laps. If you find soft sand and do it, even better, or a hill, that's good too. Um, the other one is lightweight shoulders. That one I've been mentioning, lightweight shoulders should be a part of your shoulder routine every upper body day because it is going to build stability in that shoulder. Another one too is after you do, let's say you're doing 10 to 15 reps of military press, last one, you hold it for a minute, just 1 minute, just hold it straight. We do this other one really tough. We call it death by pull ups, but it's not really death by pull ups. It's resting with pull ups, but you're doing a 1 minute hold with that like 45-pound plate. Okay. Every minute on the minute, you can drop it, run to the pull up bar, do 5 pull ups. Then you got to go grab the plate again. Hold that till the next minute, drop it, 5 pull ups. You do that for 10 minutes. Woo-hoo-hoo! That's a good one. That's a tough one. Stu said it. Get creative. Training changes over time, but I can still integrate a lot of your stuff. I'm an old head from Get Fit. Oh, for Get Fit Now forums. Yes. 2002. Good old days. Back when there was no social media, there were just forums where we talked, gave out advice, and people would argue with people for nothing. Kind of like social media now. Um, let's see. Looks like I've answered all these. Want to get my 800-meter portion of the CFT time up. Should I wear boots on some days where the program has 400, 800-meter repeats? Yeah. If you're going to be testing in boots, run in boots. Not every day. Some days you should be practicing how you test if you want to get better at that test. Because I will tell you, depending on the boots, it can slow you down. Some boots are pretty good. You don't even need to break in almost. But I would imagine Marine Corps boots probably need to one break them in, and you also need to practice with them and get your hip flexors a little stronger so you can handle hitting them. Let's see, Yo Stu. Really dialed my CSS form. Went from swimming 59-second 50s to 44 47s. Nice. Your videos help so much. Good. I'm glad it helped. I appreciate it. I'm clicking. I had a clicking shoulder. You just have to train differently. Spaced my workouts, swam in the morning, then waited 7 to 8 hours for hitting pull up and push up workouts in between and go and run. Yeah, I like that idea. Another thing too is change your grip a little bit. If you're doing pull ups, try chin ups or try mountain climbers, right? Do it this way, touch your shoulder, touch your shoulder. And if you can, try prone grip. That might be a good break for you. And if it's push-ups, play around with that too. Go a little bit closer, a little bit wider, work more chest. Yeah, just play around with different grips as well. That's good advice. So I got on late and think you might have discussed this, but I'll ask, what are your recommendations for dealing with elbow and shoulder tendonitis due to bad form or overuse? Rest. I mean, when you have tendonitis, that's an overuse injury typically. You just need to rest it. I will say this for elbow and shoulder tendonitis, you can do this and still work out at least half of your upper body stuff. So, what hurts you? right? Is it the pushing motion that hurts you? Then I would rest from that. Change the grip, like we just mentioned, might help you. Um, do dumbbell weights instead of barbells. That might help you. Um, but see if the pulling doesn't hurt. If you can do all your pulling stuff, that's good. You at least got your pull ups and your rows and your bicep curls that you can do. And if your shoulder hurts, try to do some tricep work. Try to do some tricep push down. So you're at least working some push muscle without aggravating that shoulder. So it really depends on what's bothering you. But once again, get creative, work around that thing, and then focus on full range of motion and mobility, stretching. Work on some shrugs. As long as that doesn't hurt, just slowly build that thing. Do the lightweight shoulder workout. That's very helpful with rebuilding it as well. Aaron says, "How was life when you got into this before you got into the social media era? Was it convenient, stress-free, or vice versa?" No, there's no part of life that has been stress-free. I think social media has just, for good and bad, just taken up more people's time, right? I promise you this. I would not be on social media right now if I wasn't using it for business. Now, I do like to learn things, and some people I follow, I actually learn stuff from, especially astronomy and, you know, business, things like that. Um, things that I like to learn about. And, but yeah, I've only been doing social media because of business. So for that, it has been extremely helpful because it used to be very difficult to get people to come over to your website and buy stuff. You'd have to send emails out, but that was also when everybody liked answering emails. I mean, there used to be a little thing. This is kind of funny, where it would bing, like this little mailbox arrow or flag would come up. Bing, you've got mail. Everybody was so excited to open up their mail. Now, what does everybody do? They first hit delete on everything that doesn't look like a person texted them or emailed them, or they don't even use email at all. They just use text. So, yeah, it was pretty difficult to get people to get eyeballs on your business. Um, I mean, Google helped and things like that, but I mean, now most people shop through, I shouldn't say most people. I looked at my analytics and I'm still pretty good with the Google machine bringing people over, but it's a significant percentage now of people who are coming over to business sites from social media. Some people even shop on social media. I mean, I can't tell you how many things I have bought. I was like, oh man, I need that. I've seen it on social media post. So I use it for business. So I try not to waste my time with the drama of social media and just, if somebody wants to say something stupid, I just delete them and I don't even comment. That's the best way to go if you want it to be stress free. Let's see. Looks like how long are the days at dive school? Regular work day, 8 hour. Good question. You might have some night dives in there that may extend the day a little bit. Sometimes though, those even start off later. If you'll sleep in a little, at least sometime, maybe not. I'm not sure about dive school, but once you're like diving for real at the team, if you're working nights, you'll sleep in during the day and come in at noon or something. Um, yeah, that's a good question. I would just be prepared for like a 12-hour day. And if it's less than 12 hours, it's a win. Because very rarely does it go over 12 or does it go under 12. It's kind of the mix in the middle, if you would. One great thing with those old forums was getting to know and interacting with others who went in and do great things. Yeah, sure enough. That was fun. I mean, social media is similar to that, but it's like everybody has a forum now. Everybody's a media company now. I mean, look at me. I got my own TV show here. It's a little bit weirder, but it's fun. I like chatting with people, answering questions because one, you guys give me ideas to write about, and two, it's just a good way to see what people are struggling with. All right, folks. Well, I've been at this for 55 minutes already. That's time flies, huh? When you're having fun. So go check out Stu Smith fitness.com. Email me, Stu at StuSmithFitness.com, and happy to answer those emails if you got specific questions. Um, especially if I missed your question, send them to me. Send me a video. I'll critique it if you're swimming. And I'll see you next week. Thank you guys. You guys have a good one.